Hello, welcome to Math 1324. This is Chapter 5, Section 1, Example 5. 515. Awesome. Okay, so in this one we want to determine the effective rate for $1 invested for 1 year at 7.7% compounded semi-annually. I'll be honest with you, a lot of this is not really all that needed. There are only two things that are needed to figure out effective interest rates. They are the percentage and how often it's compounded. And here's the reason. The very definition of effective interest rate is basically the following. If you have the effective interest rate would be taking the future value of the effective and making it equal to the future value of the actual amount that you have. Now, if we were talking about compound interest, the effective compound interest would be P times 1 plus your effective interest rate over N, all to the N times T, but T is going to be defined to be 1. Okay. And that's going to make that equal to the future value here, which is just going to be P times 1 plus R over N to the nth power. Now, over here, in fact, over here, this N isn't even going to be there because effective interest rate really does define as if it only compounds once a year. Okay. So notice that if we divide by P everywhere here, those go away, and I'm left with 1 plus R sub E is equal to parentheses 1 plus R over N to the nth power. Good. And then I need to just subtract 1, which means that the effective interest rate is 1 plus R over N to the nth power all minus 1. And that is actually the formula. So notice that in this formula, I just need to know the interest rate that we're told and the number of compounding events per year. And this is actually trying to get us there the long way, but now that we know this, we can always use it. So, knowing this, R in this question is 0.077. N is semi-annual, which means twice a year. Okay, so that means that the effective interest rate is going to be 1 plus 0.077 all over 2 squared, and then minus 1 there. And then just type that in. I'm not going to show you typing this in. It's too easy. 1 plus 0.077 divided by 2, close parentheses, squared. And just make sure you use your right arrow to get out of the exponent, and then minus 1, which will give us 0.078482225. And of course, move this to the right too, making that 7 point, and since this is the next one, 85%. So the effective interest rate that we get from a 7.7% is going to be 7.85%. And what's important to understand here is that effective interest rate will always be higher than the stated interest rate, or there's another word for that called nominal interest rate. Okay, so the more times you compound in a year, the higher your interest rate is going to be. But there is a limit. You could literally compound an infinite number of times every year. In other words, every split second of every single day. And there's actually going to be a maximum that you can reach there. And that is actually what's called continuous compounding. And we'll talk more about that in future examples. But for now, here we go. The effective interest rate is going to be 7.85%. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video. Have fun.